hopefully that has started everything. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so thank you. So Melanie, my name's Tara, and Ginny, my name's Tara. I'm the Regional Commissioner for Adult Development and Training on the North Coast. And tonight we have Michael and Andrew, who are coming to present to us for incident reports and risk. So I'll hand over to you both.
No worries. Thank you so much, Tara. Firstly, thank you for the invite to give this out. It is something that Andrew and I are working towards producing this type of webinar for people to follow. For those who don't know me, Michael, I'm the Executive Manager for Risk and Compliance for Scouts New South Wales, and Andrew is my Safety Officer. He will jump on after me and introduce himself. So in the meantime, I've got some stats that I would like to share just briefly on where we're at from a WHS perspective. Let me know when that comes through.
Yep, that's up.
All right, so as you can see from these stats go back from 2018 to the end of July 2024. So in total, we've had 2,415 WHS reports. Of those, 73 people have been taken to hospital. The one that is of interest to me is the trends. You can see as of July, we had 21 for this year, July. July last year, we had 18. But if we drill into that, you can see total number for 2023 was 217. Total number this year is 311 so far. So we've seen an increase in total number of injuries and incidents across the organisation. So this on the top right here, you can see there's been 389 reports this year alone so far, and that's 16.1%. So we're trending upwards. So that's just an overall view of where we are as an organisation. So your particular region is North. So I can break that down for you and we'll go through it. So since 2018, Northern Region has had 90 reports for 583 current members. So we can break that down into memberships. So Scouts, you've had 23 Scouts injured, 29 Cub Scouts injured, 1 Venturer, 8 Leaders, 3 Joeys, and there's a few anomalies in there as well. Of those, you've had 5 Adventures activities in 2024, 15 in 2023, and so on down that graph in the middle. That bottom graph on the right there indicates the total count by year. As you can see that. So you've had 5 this year. I would probably suggest it's more a case of we're not reporting everything. However, it's an education process, and that's why we're here tonight. So that's just a little bit of statistical background on where we're at the moment, and I can show you monthly across the organisation if you like. So this month we've had 366. 14 of those remain open. This is the end of July. 26 was our WHS count for this month alone, not just your region, but collectively, and 10 were issue management issues through Renee's team. So that's where we stand from a statistical point of view. It doesn't indicate we are doing the wrong thing. It just indicates we need to be a little bit better on what we are reporting. So Andrew will take you through now on how to fill in a report, what sort of data we would like to see, and we're available for any questions at the end of that. Hey, Harrison, welcome to the call. All right, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So what we do is that me and Michael both receive all the incident reports that come through. We both get notified via an email. Michael mainly will monitor those usually 7 days a week. And if anything, needs actioning straight away, then there's the process for that. But what I might do is I'll just share my screen so I can just basically start from the start here. There we go. So if everyone can just see that, that's obviously the Scouts homepage. we just come down here where we've got this little red button called Log a Matter. This is the most basic way to report an incident. It's accessible via your smartphone or via your computer. So you just come in here and you've got a couple of options. You've got a youth protection matter, a behavioural matter, a safety incident, whistleblower submission, and just the Know It Live It Log It homepage. So any safety incidents that you report, those will come directly through to myself and Michael, and any of the behavioural matters or the youth protection issues will go over to Bill Barnes and his team, and they'll be handled as they need to be. So we come in here. This will take you to a digital form, and you'll just have to start by putting in your email address, your name, or your details, your group. There are some fields that are mandatory to fill out, and it is best if you can fill out as much information as possible. It really helps. Then you've got down here a tab that we've been expanding lately is the event type. So you'll see there's some major events there. You've also just got like a group section, night at camp, and things like that. If your night or your event is not listed here, just come down to other and you can manually enter it in. Then we ask for what was being done when the incident occurred. So, were you just playing games at the hall? Something very simple, nothing too extravagant. And then in the section here for description of the incident, that's where you can really put all the detail in to exactly what's happened. When you start to press things, it'll populate things. So if it was adventurous activity, you'll select yes. It'll ask you for the ANS number. If someone got hurt, then also it'll populate another field down the bottom, along the lines as well with were emergency services called, and we'll ask for details about that. You've also got a section here, did this occur at a Scouts New South Wales location? So everything that you press, it will expand a little bit more, and you type in here your location and it will start to populate. If it is not listed, you click here and then you can enter your location. So this is a really important section here. If any member was injured, adult or youth, it is really good to have the member's details in here so that when, if we need to gain more information or offer the member support, we're able to do that really quickly and efficiently rather than trying to figure out who the member was and get in contact with someone. As you know, obviously, everyone in Scouts has a full-time job, so some people aren't always contactable on their Scout email straight away. So it can take a few days to get this information unless we make a phone call. So then we've got here the initial treatment, what was actually done. Was the member treated by first aid on site? And what did that entail? This doesn't have to be over the top, just a basic treatment plan of what's happened. Again, if they were taken to hospital, this is really important, this part. And if the member was taken to hospital, you won't always be able to get it straight away. But the thing we try to ask for post-incident is maybe a hospital discharge paper. It's just something really good to have to be able to attach to the incident report. And then also if the member if they are a member of Scouts, sometimes there's guides or there's youth trying out Scouts for a night. So you would manually enter their details in here. Got a section there for any witnesses. Now this section here doesn't really get a lot of love. It's the action taken section. And it's really just to get people thinking, if a member is tripped over on a raised bit of concrete or a slippery surface at the hall that maybe is a bit mossy because it doesn't get a lot of sun, then what are some corrective actions taken to address that incident? And then some suggested further corrective actions that maybe could be done in the future, maybe some consultation with the group, having a little meeting, just there's no wrong answer here really. It's just mainly just to get people thinking. And then you'll submit that and it'll give you an email with your WHS number and a reference. And then I'll show you what it looks like once we receive that one. So it'll come through to us. So I'll have everyone's details there, name, employed staff, date, things like that. And then we'll just scroll down. And then I'll be able to see here if you've put any actions taken. And then once we've received it, then I'll do what's called triaging and I'll have a look at it. Okay, do we need to act on this now? Or is it just a standard slip, trip or fall, things like that. So what's really important is when these incident reports are logged, obviously just getting the incident report logged is the main and the most important part. And then once it's logged, then we'll look at it and we'll go, okay, member has broken their arm, they've gone to hospital, they need surgery or something like that. So in that sort of case, then we would really hope for an e-permission form if it was an activity outside of the hall, because we understand that there might not be an e-permission form for a general night at Scouts or Cubs or whatever it is, and a risk assessment for that activity, and then hopefully a hospital discharge paperwork. Those are the golden three. And if we can't get all three, then at least the e-permission and the risk assessment is really, really helpful down the future. And then what we would do is so each region will have their own WHS rep. Your rep, I believe, is Bell Howell. And I will send out the incident report to the rep. The rep will already have notification that there's been an incident reported, but they won't know the severity of it. And then what we'll do is if we need to understand a bit more information and figure out exactly what's happened, if the incident report isn't clear enough, then Bell will go out and do that. And the other reason is, probably the most high priority reason, is to see if the member has been supported and if the group has reached out. Because sometimes if they get injured, it might not be a huge significant injury that takes them away from scouting or potentially even their job if it's an adult member, but they may just need some emotional support. And that's what we really would like to do, is offer that support to our members as soon as possible, and just check on them as well. So there might be times that the injury is not significant, but I will just send out the report to the WHS rep just to make sure that, support is there. And then that's basically what happens. And another question was raised by a few members as to, will you get a response once you've put your incident report in? And in most cases, the person who has reported won't get a response unless the WHS rep comes to you and specifically needs some more information, or you have connections to that member and you already know how they're traveling, then they will. But I, in most cases, won't contact you, nor will Michael. We'll just keep that on record. And if we need to leave it open, we'll leave it open. Or if we need to close it, once we're satisfied that the member is supported, that there's an outcome and there's potentially some corrective actions, then that'll just be stored away in our data warehouse. And that's essentially what will happen.
And that's an important point there too, Andrew, about keeping the data. The reason we ask for all this additional paperwork is not for the here and now. That's for the 10 years' time. When the young Joey who fell over and broke his or her ankle has got to have some corrective surgery down the track. So it's really future-proofing what we're trying to do with our organisation. So it's really important that we get the right data. If there is gaps in the fields, you will hear from us, because those reports I showed you at the start comes out of Folio. So I take the information out of Folio and then turn it into those graphs. So if there is data missing, that makes the numbers look bad, and we don't want to do that at the end of the day.
Exactly right, Michael. And the thing is as well, which I forgot to mention, is that no report is too little or too insignificant to report. So for example, 100%. At State Rally, over the weekend when it was at Cataract, we had a large, significant amounts of incidents. Took over a week to triage all those incidents and to make sure we had outcomes, members' details, and things like that. And some of them were as simple as just a grazed leg, a sprained ankle, the Rice method was applied, or whatever it is. But please report your incidents, whatever it is. And if you can only put a basic amount of information in, just put it in there, and then we'll figure out the rest after. But reporting is extremely important, so we can understand where we should put our time and our resources into educating members. What's the most common injuries that we see? What's the most common incidents that we see, and where are we going to put our efforts? Because if the most common injuries is slip, trips and falls, or grazes and cuts and things like that, while we may not be able to avoid them, we may be able to provide some education and some resources on those. But if we don't know, then we don't know. And that's really all there is to it. So
we now have a permanent spot in Leader News. So please keep an eye out on Leader News. The last one was about ladders. The next one's going to be about lifting. So things we see trends on. We're just going to give a little quick blurb and a couple of links within the Leaders News that'll take you to some more in-depth determinations if you want to go into that far into it. So if there's any questions, we're happy to field any questions.
Might just add one more thing. If there are no questions, or if there are, please feel free to jump in. We also have a SharePoint site that we've set up, which is our resources page. It has a lot of our information that Michael and I directly are able to control, and we can upload documents and things a lot quicker than we can to the Scouts website. Sometimes that needs to go through the marketing team and things like that, and we can share that page certainly with you. The other thing as well, which I forgot to mention that Incident Reports does, is, for example, I've had a few incident reports come through for gang shows, different minor injuries. However, what it does is it lets us see, okay, when did you guys last do a risk assessment? If it was 2 years ago, then that's totally fine. All right. We really do want the risk assessments updated annually, or if an incident occurs. But if that hasn't been done because there's been change of leadership or it's just been missed, then we can certainly look at helping, review that risk assessment.
So I just have one question come in there from Melanie about should incidents reported on your way to and from meetings and Scout events? Yes, please. Yeah, we're just trying to get a whole picture on our whole activity around the Scouting movement. So anything, I mean, we had reports going back to dragon skin of blisters. Yeah. Very insignificant, but I'm glad they were reported. That shows me that the culture is there for reporting, and that's fantastic. And I want to foster that.
And exactly right. And the thing that we're able to get out of dragon skin, which really highlights the importance of reporting all and any incidents, especially on a major event where there are lots of different regions there, lots of different age groups, is that at dragon skin, some youth maybe were not as prepared as others to carry the pack they were carrying, and some packs were a little bit too heavy. So now there's a project in the works to understand what are we doing pre-dragon skin and pre-hike. Are we maybe putting too much weight in the packs? Certain size kids, all kids come in different sizes and all different strengths. And some kids just couldn't handle the weight of their packs and they had to be transported via vehicles. So that was a really good learning there. It wasn't in all regions, but some of those suburban regions that may not get access to hiking probably didn't have as much experience as the rural regions. So that was a really good thing to see.
Yeah, and there could be some long-lasting injuries as a result of those heavy packs, and that's what we want to avoid. So yeah. Any more questions? Well, Tara, I think that's probably it. Would you like to add anything to that?
No, thank you for that. I think, I think as you said, it's the culture. We get a lot of questions of at things where they go, oh, well, if we've got to put a Band-Aid on somebody, should we have to report that? Like I think where a lot of our leaders get confused is like what needs to be reported. So it's all about clearing up those things, definitely.
Yeah, okay. I mean, and the easiest rule of thumb is if it's a quick Band-Aid, I'd love to see it just for statistical purposes, but you don't know what may happen 5-10 days down the track. It could get an infection and there could be all sorts of stuff. So it's safer to report it than it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Harrison, is there any questions that you can think of that you've been asked by leaders?
Look, no questions that I can think of on the top of my head. Just because I just wanted to add for those that are here and for those that come back and watch later, I know there is a lot of different places within Scouts where we can go to find information and things like that. And as a region, we are putting in a lot of effort to try and centralise that process. So just in case anyone asks, or if you need a reminder of where you can find these things, on the new North Coast Region Scouts website that has been published this in the last week or so, you can actually scroll down and there is a section on our safeguarding commitment as an organisation. With these buttons here, you can actually access a page which will take you to the Scouts New South Wales website and give you information on safeguarding within the organisation. And you can also visit the Log a Matter page where you're able to, again, that went to the wrong place, find those links as well. So just in case you ever need a reminder or anything like that, or you are looking for it, that is another way that you can access those forms as well.
So Andrew's just put in the chat there our SharePoint site, which is Safety Risk Resources. So please have a look. You will have access to it. And then also our email is risk@newsouthwales.scouts.com.au, and that's monitored by Andrew and myself. So for a general question or information request, go straight to that email there, or just email us directly. Prefer to go through risk, so that way we can capture the data. As you appreciate, I get hundreds of emails a day. So
and look as well, if anyone's ever unsure about what to report, or maybe they don't feel comfortable logging the incident report, and they want to do have a conversation about it or ask a question or something like that, please feel free to reach out to us. Myself and Michael both have our mobile numbers on our email signature. We mainly prefer phone calls during business hours, but if something wants to be talked about after hours, then we can make adjustments if we need to. But the thing is that if people are unsure or they're umming and ahhing, just reach out. We're here to educate. Myself and Michael have only been in our seats for not even a year now, and we're still learning as well. So we'd love to hear from the regions and the members. And as you can understand, it's really hard to get around to all of New South Wales, being based in Sydney. So.
Yep. Is there any other questions from anybody that you can think of at the moment? That's okay.
Silence says it all. Yep.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, once again for coming along. That's it's fantastic that we can do this and just get a bit of information out there. And thank you to Michael and Andrew for coming along tonight and being our subject matter experts on this. Melanie's just typing something. Yep, no problem, Melanie.
You're welcome.
She's just saying thank you. Yes. If there's any questions, let us know, and reach out to Michael and Andrew. That's fine. I might just stop the recording there. There we go.